Hey y'all, I'm Kara Perez, and today's video is brought to you by my very own business. If you want to get your couple's money right, stop arguing about money, and figure out if you need joint accounts or not, get our $22 Couples Money Workbook at the description. It's a one-time purchase to own the workbook for life, and I promise if you're in a romantic relationship, it will help make your financial life easier. I recently asked on my Instagram what questions about managing money as a couple y'all had, and today I'm going to answer some of them. How can we handle debt when one has it and the other does not? Whew, fantastic question, because this can be a really tricky situation because debt is not just about the numbers that one of you owes. It's really about the emotions that you both feel about having debt. I think the first thing to do is create a safe space and have a supportive conversation with your partner about the debt that they have. So please don't come into this with judgment or rage or a to-do list for them. This is just a fact-finding mission. We just want to know what type of debt they have, what the interest rate is on that debt, what their monthly payment is, and if they have a payoff plan already in place. If the person with debt already has a payoff plan in place, wow, try saying that 10 times fast. They already know, yes, I plan to pay off $500 a month. That's an extra $100 a month. I should be out of debt in 3 years. Then I would just chill. It's not the person who doesn't have debt's place to come in and be like, here's the plan, here's what you need to do. It's not your responsibility to manage or create a plan for them. If they don't have a plan, you can ask would you like to talk about this? Would you like to do research about this together? And go from their answer. If they're like, no, I want to handle this, then you have to respect that. You can say, I'd like to be a part of this. I'd like to have updates on this, but you can't go in there and micromanage their money. That is a recipe for disaster for your relationship. Now, as for how to manage spending on the fun things, if somebody has to make a $500 payment each month and the other person doesn't, that means one person has 500 extra bucks a month, right? As a unit, you need to come to an agreement on the kind of lifestyle you want to live as a couple and as an individual. Maybe the person who doesn't have debt is going to go out to dinner with friends once a week, and that's a way for that person to be able to, express their foodiness, but it's also a way to spend time with friends without making your partner feel bad or necessarily excluded. Basically, what I'm saying here is you need to have a big conversation about how you want to be spending money in your coupleness. Okay, number 2, how can we figure out what finances need to be combined and what doesn't? One of the most common money questions I get from couples, and exactly what our Couples Money Workbook is all about. The workbook is going to walk you through determining if you even need to share bank accounts, and if you do want to share bank accounts, how to go about that. And if you don't want to share bank accounts, how to go about that. So that's all in the workbook, which you can find at the link in the description. But also I want to say, let's dispel the myth that couples need to share bank accounts. Just because you're in love with someone does not mean you need to open a bank account and slap both of your names on it. There's no bad way to manage money as a couple as long as both people in the couple feel respected and heard. And just to be transparent here, I'll share that I have been in a relationship with T-Bone for almost 9 years, and we don't have any joint bank accounts, we don't have any shared assets, and we don't have any joint investments. We also don't split bills 50-50. This works for us, and I share this transparently because you get a lot of piping hot takes in the personal finance community that if you don't share bank accounts with your partner, then your relationship is doomed and you're probably a lying liar who lies. Let's take Rachel Cruz, for example, Dave Ramsey's daughter. What does she think about couples who don't share bank accounts? Keeping your bank accounts separate is one of the most effective ways to wreck your financial life and maybe even your marriage. When you stand in front of God, your family, friends, and the love of your life, and someone says, I now pronounce you husband and wife, you're married. That declaration means you are inseparable. You are one. You're now in a lifelong committed relationship, and it's no longer only about you. You're not two business partners coming into a deal. You're one unit. If you believe that in all other areas of life, why draw the line at money? Lol, lots to unpack there, Rachel. Firstly, Cruz is of the opinion that marriage is only between one man and one woman, which is not an opinion I share. But also here, the thing is that marriage actually is a business deal. It literally is. That is the history of marriage, is that it was two people legally combining themselves and their assets for like the good of their family or the good of, a dynasty or something. And that's why here in the United States, when you get married, all of a sudden it changes your financial life. It changes your tax structure. It changes things about your money because it is fundamentally a civic business deal. Also, the opinion that you have to share bank accounts, it's not only widely held, but it is incredibly ignorant of the fact that financial abuse exists. And financial abuse exists in 99% of domestic abuse cases. For example, one person not being allowed to have access to a credit card or a bank account in their own name, that can be a form of financial abuse. And it can keep someone trapped in a relationship or literally in a house where they are unsafe. So this strict adherence to the idea that couples must share finances, they must share bank accounts, I think it's rooted in a Christian theology that is really outdated and really dangerous for a lot of people. And it's absolutely fine if you do want to share bank accounts. Like, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying I don't think you should feel obligated to do so if you don't want to. Now that my rant is over here, if you do want to share bank account, I suggest opening one joint account to start that you each contribute into out of your personal accounts. That way, for your joint expenses like rent, groceries, kids, whatever, you have a place that you both have access to. But also, please, always, especially if you're watching this and you're a woman, always, always, always have a bank account that's just in your own name. I would suggest having your paycheck deposited into your personal account, and then you can withdraw money and transfer it to your joint account to begin. Okay, question number 3. How to split things like travel or social spending when you make different amounts of money. Okay, I'm team percentage here. Figure out the percentage difference between you and your partner when it comes to income. If you make 70% more than he does, I think you should be paying for more things around the house. Not necessarily 70% more, but more. So maybe you pay 60% of rent and he pays 40%. Maybe you pay the electric bill because it's higher and he pays the internet bill. Breaking things up according to who earns more is a more equitable approach to household finances. Now, as for bigger purchases, all those fun things can definitely get tricky there, especially if one of you has like more bougie taste than the other one. So the first thing I'm going to recommend is having a conversation about it. It's all about talking in relationships when it comes to how to handle money. But also when it comes to some of the bigger stuff, especially travel, this is a fantastic time to utilize rewards points so that the person who earns less can use points to do something that might, like on its face, be too expensive for them, because you can use points to make things cheaper. When T-Bone and I went to Colombia last year, I used points to pay for half of his ticket and all of my ticket because he was unemployed and I was earning money. So I was like, I got the flights. And I used points to make that a very cheap purchase for me. I will link to some of my favorite travel credit cards in the description below, so you can check those out. They've got really good rewards structures. But also when it comes to things like trips, it's really important to talk about financial expectations for the trip before you book anything. Set expectations like how much you are thinking about spending overall on the trip, and then break that down into categories like I've allocated X for flights, X for hotels, X for experiences. That gives your partner a chance to be like, oh, this was more than I was thinking. Can we nix this and can we try doing this instead? And remember, when you're having this conversation, this is your partner. This is the person you love. You don't want to spring a $900 hotel bill on them and have them freak out. And I think if the higher earner really wants to meet a specific metric of travel, like really wants to stay in a specific hotel or really wants to have a specific experience, they should offer to pay for that, or they should offer to pay for the majority of that, because if you're the one insisting on doing something, you should be the one to pay for it. Okay. We're engaged. How can I gently ask for separate bank accounts because of different money styles? This is a really good question. And I'm not totally sure I have enough detail from this Instagram box reply to really give you a specific answer, but I'm going to give it my best shot. Here, it sounds like you may already have joint accounts, or at least one joint account, and you're trying to completely remove the jointness. You want to go back to totally separate. The first thing I would do is ask my partner to set aside time to have a money date with you so that they know there's a specific time and place that you want to talk about money. So something like, hey, this Thursday, I would love to sit down and have a money date. Can we set aside an hour? When you have a very delicate financial topic you want to discuss, it is best not to just spring it on them at like 9 p.m. on a Monday. You want to actually give them a chance to kind of like prepare and be aware that there's something you want to talk about. And then at the money date, always come with a lot of compassion and a lot of understanding that your partner's coming from a different place that you are, and that they don't have to see things the same way you see things. You're allowed to stand in your truth and you're allowed to want separate bank accounts. But what we're not allowed to do is demonize the other person for having a different view. So I would approach it like this. Jose, I love you and I love our life together. But the way we're doing money right now isn't really working for me. I feel secure when I have X, Y, and Z things in place in my financial life. And right now, I don't really feel like I have that. I'm focused on X financial goal this year, as you know. I'd like to have my paycheck go into my personal checking account, and then I can transfer money for our joint expenses into our joint account. This way, I have enough money to make me feel secure and to help me hit my financial goal. And I'm also continuing to contribute to the household in the same way I already have been. Sorry, I just kind of like talking off screen, but that's me talking to Joe. Now, from this point, you're going to have to navigate his response, and I really don't know what that will be, but stress that you love him, stress that you trust him, and always use I statements so that nothing comes across as a personal attack, like you're bad with money, you're a terrible saver. That's not what we want. What we want is, I feel safe when this, I'm working on this, I really love when this. How can I split expenses with different income levels or when a partner is laid off / not working? Okay, I'm currently working on a whole video about this because T-Bone spent 6 months in 2022 being unemployed, and we had to rearrange our entire financial lives. And we've actually done that a couple of times, so I think it would be really helpful for people to get kind of a glance into how we've handled that. So please hit subscribe and make sure to come back in like 2 or 3 weeks when that video is up, because that's gonna have all the dirty deets for you. So those are just a few questions, y'all. What I really want to stress when it comes to managing couples' money is that it's not you versus your partner. It's you and your partner figuring out how to do money together. So you're not in conflict with each other. Really try and hold on to that, because it's very easy, and I myself fall into this sometimes, to get really frustrated or really angry with your partner. But that's not really the root of the issue. The issue is the behavior around finances. So remember, it's not you versus each other. It's the two of you versus the problem. Let that be your guiding light through financial conflict. And if you need more help and you want actual exercises that the two of you can do together, definitely check out our Couples Money Workbook at the description below. Let me know in the comments what your number one financial issue with your boo is, and we can talk about it a little bit. Thank you so much for watching. Please give us a like and hit subscribe.